truth and preservation of our soul shine. I can feel it, yours and mine. Close your eyes and witness it inside. In your bones, you will know. Trust and let go, and let it flow.
Welcome to another episode of All Things in the Name of Love. And today I have with me a beautiful soul that I met on TikTok and was inspired to just reach out and ask to please be on my podcast. His name is Riley. Well, your last name on this is Godplay, and that's what I'm going to use. And you're a multi-dimensional being who just has the most aligned conversations on TikTok that just open my heart up and make me want to aspire to be the being that I'm meant to be. And so I want to welcome you and thank you so much for who you are and for showing up as you are.
Thank you, Sophia. I so much appreciate the opportunity to be here in this podcast with you. The way you reached out was very clear to me that this was a good thing to do. And so you're broadcasting your energy in a way that's very easy to recognize goodness. And I really appreciate what you said about the feeling reaction you are to the effect of the messages that I'm sharing, and I'd love to hear more feedback about that because I know how I'm doing, and I'm curious how it lands with an audience. That's been an ongoing quest, is how to really communicate with an audience very well, and so I'm real curious to hear about how you see.
Well, first of all, you're incredibly articulate, and I appreciate that. And you're very lucid, and you're slow enough to be able to process the messages, but not slow and not so slow that like you're talking down. It's just like it's a perfect tempo and a perfect ability to like, oh wow, this just landed.
Yeah,
And as you and I both know, we're in this time of consciousness where we're shifting into remembering who we are. And I've been doing this consciously since 2009. So it's easy for me to hear your messages. So I'm not sure if I'm the best test case, but how you present it is just magical because I feel your frequency. I feel the messages, I feel it land in my heart, and I know that's the intention.
yes, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And you're definitely one who's meant to have the message. So you're my test subject. You are my prime audience here.
Pretty awesome. So I want to ask you, like, what is your background and how did you like come to bring this into form? Because it really is beautiful, especially right now when we're like in this crazy time of consciousness where we are remembering our Christ consciousness or whatever term you want to call it.
Sure, sure. Um, well, I feel like to give insight into my positioning, my come from, my perspective, there is some necessity to give some historical background of who I am and how I've arrived here.
Mm-hmm.
On screen, the name Godplay is featured. And I want you to know that my birth name is Workman. My name is Riley Workman. That's my name. Um, Godplay is an initiative, or it's an invitation that I have discovered in myself to be. You've spent all this time working as man. Now
Mm-hmm.
be God playing. This is what you really are.
I love that.
So that's why the flip. That's why I sometimes use the name, because it is empowering to me to do so. I'm very honoring of the name Workman. It's taught me good discipline and hard work, which, sometimes I shy away from that. I think a lot of us want to shy away from hard work, but I've learned to do it. And I've also learned that the playful frequency is the most enabling power to do the most amount of excellence. And
Mm-hmm.
so in the beginning, I existed in the Mormon sphere of Utah Valley, which
Okay.
has recently been featured very predominantly in the news. And I came from American Fork, and I was a very diligent believer in the religious path that was
Mm-hmm.
presented to me. And I think maybe you can relate to that, Sophia.
Yeah.
Have you been given a religious path that you started off
Oh,
with?
yeah, I grew up Protestant in Connecticut, so like all the Puritan energy and everything there.
Got
So
you.
yeah,
Okay, cool. I'm glad to know that. You grew
yeah,
up Protestant in Connecticut, you said, yeah?
yeah.
Okay, neat. So, um, these currents are already existing, and we begin them not knowing who we are or even why we're doing this, but everybody's doing it. So get on board. Don't rock the boat. Get in line. Do it
Yeah.
well, like that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
so an allegiance to law and obedience was me.
Mm,
I did the LDS mission, knocking on the doors for 2 years, giving the Book of Mormon, like, you need to understand God the way I understand God, or else you don't really understand God. That was me as a missionary. And then when I came back, I worked in the LDS temples to help facilitate the ceremonies. I was a veil
mm,
worker.
okay.
And then I also became a state trooper for Utah Highway Patrol. So I was a cop on the freeway,
Wow.
taking people to jail. And I went through an awakening where I began to realize that all of this allegiance to structure and obedience and law wasn't the immersive, all-encompassing love of God fully
Mm,
embodied. I noticed a discrepancy.
hmm hmm
And that was that I could feel the love of God very profoundly in me, but I wasn't seeing the evidence of it in the structure that was telling me this is the truest path.
hmm
So I began to feel in that perspective that it was well within my capacity to trust myself and to do life the way that I felt was correct to do. And
Mm,
so that was a spiritual freedom that I
hmm
initially experienced, just kind of coming out of the eggshell, leaving the bird cage and testing the wings for the first time. That was kind of what that was like. Now, have you gone through a similar experience of like religious awakening, Sophia? What's been going on for you?
So, I grew up, I've been very connected my whole life. I didn't realize this. When my grandpa died, he sat on my bed for 3 days after he died, and no one in my family or in my church could tell me what the hell was going on.
Okay. So
So,
he passed, but his presence was on
oh
your
yeah,
every
like
day.
I could fit. I woke up seeing him on my bed because he
Okay.
was my best friend and 10, and nobody told me that he was dying. So he was trying to comfort me, but I didn't know because I'm 10. And I grew up in the 70s and 80s in Connecticut, so like being spiritual, not really promoted. So I learned to shut it down as much as I could, and numb myself out for a long time. And I had several, not several, but a small family, several family members die pretty close to one another.
Okay.
And the last one was my dad, and he was in hospice, and they turned him, and I felt his spirit leave his body. And I hear my phone ring, and I'm driving home with my mom, and I'm like, Mom, Dad just died. That was a hospital. She's like, How do you know that? And I'm like, I don't know. I just do. And I picked up the phone. It was a phone. They told him that, the message was, Your father just died. Come back to the hospital. So we get back to the hospital, and I'm looking at this wax figure that's supposed to be my dad because my dad is not in it. Right? I
What do
can
you
just,
mean?
like,
Wax
it's my
figure.
dad's body, but it looks like a wax
Oh,
figure
oh, okay. Okay. I see what you're
because
saying.
he's not in it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he's jaundiced and everything, and I'm like, "Where's Dad?" Because I don't
Yeah.
even like nothing looks like my dad. Like that body does not look like my dad anymore. I'm like, "Where's Dad?" And my mom's like, "That's your father." I'm like, "No, that is not my dad." And I say that 3 times, and the third time I feel and see, and I pause, and I'm like, "That was Dad scattering across the universe. And I
Mm.
don't know a thing."
Ah.
And I'd just gotten a PhD 3 years before, and I was like, I am blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? When you have that ego
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Well, I just like, I don't know anything. And so I started like doing meditation, and I found the civil method, and I've just been going within
Yeah.
ever since 2009. And so I'm always in this quest of like, who is the being
Yes.
that is expressing itself through this character avatar that I
Yes.
am?
Great question.
Um, and I love seeing how I express myself.
Yes. It's very fun.
And so, yeah, it's just this constant quest of like, how much deeper can I go? Like, if there's a subconscious belief, which one came up last night in a conversation, and I was present with myself. I'm like, okay, where are you? Where are you in me that I can feel so I can be present to you so you cannot control me anymore?
I see. I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. When you said that, I imagined a great tree, and
Mm-hmm.
there was an unexplored branch that maybe just wasn't having a current of flowing life through it,
Mm,
and therefore was provoking your awareness to look at it.
yeah. There's a very good analogy because that's what it is. It's like it was just an aspect of me that I hadn't seen before because I was hiding. And I
Yeah.
saw it. And usually when I get these profound things, it's like 2 to 3 in the morning, liver time and the Chinese clock. And that's where all the emotions are stored. And so I'm like tuning in and I felt this like profound compassion and love for that aspect of me that had been too scared to be felt before.
Right. I can relate to that.
Yeah.
I want to adjust this light just
Yeah.
1 second. And okay, that's going to be way better, I think. So um, you had mentioned not being felt or not being held or seen, or aspects of you that had gone
Mm-hmm.
unnoticed and were
Yeah.
now inviting you into noticing them.
Mm-hmm.
And I can relate to that because I feel like the experience of life that I have gone through so far has been a endeavor to be as separate from creator's true source as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But that can only go on for so long before the gig is up,
Yeah. Yeah.
because because there is no separation from true creator. And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that's a phrase we hear a lot in uh, just perhaps in the For You pages that we peruse. We hear this: there is no separation between you and God.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of revelatory, though, to people coming up in the religious pathway,
Yeah.
because so much emphasis is placed in enshrining and idolizing God
Mm-hmm.
outside of the self. So
Yeah.
the act of bringing all of that energy and all of that goodness back into
Mm-hmm.
it's funny because it's simultaneously effort to do, but it's also release to do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I've noticed that between focus and flow, this
Yeah.
is the polarity that I've been playing with lately, is that I have to focus on the idea of self as God, but then I also release into the actuality of self as God.
Mm-hmm.
And when that occurred, I experienced an enlightenment where my soul left its body and I returned to source, and I was observing all of light, but not being it.
Mm.
And before me, it was held in view like an imaginary thought that was being processed because it was fascinating to the source of bliss that I am. And then it became real again. I stepped out of it long enough to recognize it as illusory and imaginary, but I am continuing to make it because I want to see it. So it doesn't serve me to go around and say things like, this reality is an illusion.
Right.
Doesn't serve me to say that at all.
Mm-hmm.
It serves me better to empower my avatar character into maximum fulfillment. And that's the essence
Mm-hmm.
of my message and my words,
Yeah.
and why I'm sounding, because I feel like there has been an awareness of how to sound a universal amplification and empowerment for
Mm-hmm.
all beings through what is happening as me in this time. And
Mm-hmm.
that is what I am up to.
I love that because it's, there's been so much focus on like doing inner child work and
Yeah.
doing, all the things like it's a process, and I'm grateful that I'm in a place now where I can just be present with the feelings and not be attached to them. It's taken a lot of effort for me to do that.
Mhm.
And that joy. So one of the things I love to do is bake. That is where source loves to shine through me. And when I'm doing that, that is like such a flow. It's like, oh, I'm just going to try this and this and this and this and this. And baking, if you don't know, is more of a science than creative thing. However, because I do gluten, dairy, sugar-free stuff too, I kind of play.
Yeah.
And and so it's like this really fun space of like looking at a recipe and just being, okay, I'm just going to substitute all these things because I can, and let's see what happens. And I've had like I don't have it now, but I will again, an apothecary where I've been in such flow because I don't study anything about essential oils or anything like that. I literally get recipes downloaded into my being for individuals
Mm.
because I tune into their frequency and find out what they need. And then I'm like, okay, what do they need? And I get it and I write it down and then I create it. And it's such a beautiful state of beingness because I'm not in that analytical state and trying to figure stuff out. I don't have to do that. I can just be and allow.
Yes. Yes. That's very liberated. That's very fluid. That's
Yeah.
very actualized. That's very self being self. That's very good.
Hmm. Yeah, and to do more of that is like, what's the next step? Like what's and balancing that like that that wonder, that curiosity, because I'm innately curious and
Yes.
I go quickly from that to obsessive compulsive.
Okay.
It's it's really fast. And I'm like, okay, so how do I stay in innocent curiosity and
Mhm.
in flow, but not in a state of having to do? And that's the balance I'm working with now.
Okay. Uh, so I'm. I feel like there is a desire to say things, but I have a question first. And you say you mentioned to be in flow but not do. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Can you elucidate on that a little
Yeah,
bit?
sure. So like doing is like having a list and checking it off,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And my tendency is so I have this very enthusiastic aspect of myself
Okay.
that's childlike, is very childlike enthusiasm. And it can get too caught up in the process of figuring out the details while trying to be at the same time. And I'm trying to scale that back to just the being instead of trying to figure out the
Yeah,
details.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So when you said that, I had this visual of when you and friends get around and you're playing a board game and it's the first time you're playing the board game.
Hmm.
There's all of this necessity for instruction
Right.
and you're trying to play, but then you're also getting inundated with a ton of
Yeah.
information. Is it kind of like that?
Yeah, it's kind of like that because it's like that I don't want to know the details. Like
Yes.
I've this whole experience of house sitting has been like nudges
Hmm.
of me going, okay, you're going to go here now, you're going to go here,
Gotcha.
this, and this. And this particular one I manifested last year when I first met the dogs, and they're amazing dogs. I absolutely love them. But I didn't know they were going to be in Bend, Oregon. They were in Portland when I met them.
Mhm.
And so, like, that state of like, well, these are two of my favorite dogs. I want to spend more time with them, and now I get to spend time with them for 3 months. So that's play because I visualized it.
Right. Right.
But then if I do future casting too much, I
Mhm.
overstimulate my brain because
I
my
see.
brain tries to analyze into it and try to figure out the details. So,
Right. Okay. 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 I like where you're going with this. Future casting too much can produce analytical behavior, which is not you in flow and in
right,
play.
right.
Being in flow and in play, you're only engaging the necessary amount of future casting to
Hmm.
ensure certainty and empowerment.
Hmm.
So that you're able to play and feel in alignment trajectory with highest best. This is how I see. And that is that it is of necessity to do more than just go with the flow.
Hmm.
And that's why future forecasting is an ability that we have. it's so that it can be utilized. And have you ever played with those toys that they're like the fake cameras, and they've got the wheel of all of the slides that you can
Oh,
put,
yeah, 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 yeah.
and you put it up to your eye, and you take the picture, and you're looking through this little like box, and then you can see, you gotta hold it up to the light though, and he's like, maybe it's a zebra or something like that, like all kinds of
I
stuff.
remember those. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so future forecasting is when you decide there's a specific slide I'm going to have happen to
Mm.
me, and I'm putting it in the camera. And now I'm back into the flow of play. It's like, this picture's gray. I know the picture I future forecast is coming to me. This picture's gray. Okay, what's next? There's the picture I future forecasted. Like that.
I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's beautiful because like you can feel like I was in a class a couple of years ago. It was about heart-based leadership, and the facilitator is all about future for like, what are you going to be in 5 years? What are you going to be? And like, that's great, but it takes me out of being present.
Well, because so the future now, the future now, the future now.
Yeah.
Um, we cannot be so divorced from now that we're only future present, but also to not plan anything for the future is to say that the current flow of all things can continue and I care not.
Mm,
And if that's true, great. I mean, I really think that's kind of an achievement to arrive at. Like,
yeah.
possible that you could arrange everything in your life so well that you never had to use future forecasting anymore and all you were was present flow? Is that possible, do you think?
It'd be amazing.
It seems like a summit of experiences.
Yeah.
You truly are in your kingdom of paradise, and all that goes on around you is perfectly fine. You don't care. I've never experienced that, but
I
I,
don't either.
I'm always planning something. I'm always envisioning something. There's always something that's like, wow, what if this? I'm usually always having that going on to some degree.
Hmm.
And to really enjoy it, it has to be brought into now. And this is a lot of the emphasis that I am in speaking, is how to successfully pull the imagination
Hmm.
into direct experience that I'm living and is real and I'm feeling it,
Yeah.
and getting rid of all discrepancies, all resistances, all um, unconscious pivots in the face of the
Mhm.
gift. Because that's an experience I've had where the gift arrives, pivot. It's like, why did you do that? You called
Yeah.
that. Why did you do that? Um,
Yeah.
and so to call in and be one who receives the gift that one is giving unto self,
Yeah.
that's where the the twist of religion dissolves entirely, because there's
Mhm.
just the creator being the creator unto the creator,
Yeah.
and that's all that's going on.
Mhm.
And in that pure awareness and actualization, because it's enlightenment and it's actualization, then life according to your highest dreams and preferences is has nothing to do but manifest for you.
Right. Right. And that's the gift. Like what I've noticed is I have because it takes a couple weeks for me to assimilate to the place that I'm at,
Mhm.
I haven't scheduled a lot. So I have a lot of time that is unstructured.
Sure.
And one of the gifts of that is if I have an emotion come in that needs to be attended to,
Right.
I'm there.
Yeah.
Like I don't have any distractions of like, oh, well, I have to like I have 15 minutes break and then I have to go back to work, which is a gift that I have. I'm very, very grateful for that. But it's it's also lending me like yesterday, I just was like, okay, I'm gonna do this now. I'm just gonna bake because I need to bake. And I'm like, okay, this is really interesting that this is like coming through in this moment, but this was something that my soul was like, hey, let's just do this now. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it now. And I love having that flexibility where I can do the thing that the soul is um inspiring me to do.
Okay.
Um and I've never been able to experience that as consistently as I do now, and it's so much fun.
That's fun. That does sound fun. That sounds like you're in a spacious environment that allows you to be your intuitive self.
It also makes it difficult for me to actually want to interact with other humans much.
There are chapters and seasons of that.
Yeah.
I have done. I've lived up in a cabin in the mountains for months and months, and so I know what that's like.
Yeah.
I also observe that in my interactivity with others, the most amount of synchronistic and magic and
Mhm.
wondrous possibilities that I didn't even consider are able to happen
Mm,
when offering the gift of presence to the other self. That's where the most amount of creator magic seems to be happening, and because it's like creator wants to know itself through the people,
makes sense. Yeah.
and so it likes it when a person is particularly clear to creator's will.
Mm,
And I feel like the journey of the human life is making one perfectly clear to the creator's will.
yeah.
And some human avatars have more of a willingness to be creator's will.
Hmm.
And some want to, for whatever reason, indulge in this I'm too special to be God. That's what I see happening. I'm too special to be God. No, like no, he's over there. I'm over here. I'm too special to be the one. That's what I see. It's kind of backwards, which is just so funny because there's
Ah.
only the one. And so you are the most high, you're the most special.
Hmm.
But for some reason, people like to divide. But that's okay because the nature of humanity is multiplication partitioned, where
Hmm.
all of these different aspects and perspectives and potential combinations of creator embodied are happening in every person. But it just is really curious to me to who is aware of that and who isn't aware of that, you know?
Yeah. And it's for me, I I'm musically inclined rather than visually inclined, so I
Okay.
can feel and tune into frequencies. And sometimes the frequencies, like I don't even know how to describe it. Like I can feel somebody's frequency not meshing with the orchestra.
Sure.
And and it's a fascinating journey because I don't need to understand it. I can feel it. But it's just for me, what I've noticed over the past couple years is like how I'm aligning with the instruments in the orchestra that want to co-create with me.
Neat. I really like the musical analogy. I can super relate to it.
Awesome.
Where do you experience any kind of instrument attunement? Do you play any musical instrument?
My vocal cords at the moment.
Neat.
I used
That's
to play clarinet, used to play piano, don't have access to either one at the moment. I am going to a drum circle on Saturday.
fun. Good for you.
And I love how the drum uses me as an instrument.
Yes.
Um, it's magical. I love that. And drumming with 50 to 70 other women is a magical experience.
Okay.
Yeah. It's sometimes we're in sync with each other and other times we're not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that is how it
And
is.
and when I'm standing over somebody, I drum what their soul tells me they need to be drummed. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Hmm. That's great. That's great. I have a lot of choral experience. I grew up in choirs and did some of that, and I play the piano as well. And
Awesome.
um, so when you mentioned that you relate to things through music and frequency, I
Hmm.
feel like that. I was just having a conversation with a piano teacher actually about it, and I was talking to him about how we really liked movies and why was it we really liked movies, and it was because of the music,
Yeah.
and it was permission to go and indulge in this great music.
Yeah.
The movie was happening on top of it, but if the music wasn't very interesting, I don't think the movie ever became interesting.
That makes so much sense. I never thought of it, but that makes so much sense because, John Williams, right?
Right.
Like,
He's kind of the poster child in this this generation for consistently creating a sound that
Hmm.
keeps an audience in gratitude.
Yeah. Yeah. And applying that, I hadn't consciously noticed that before, but it completely makes sense.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
So, so something that I feel like can happen is, well, so there was this quote that I posted in one of my very earliest videos, and it was, um, uh, "Music is liquid architecture. Architecture is frozen music."
Mm.
So everything starts as sound,
Yeah.
and then it appears to be matter in light.
I had an experience last week. I was chanting Om Mayo Rengo Kyo, and you're supposed to put your eyes, you focus on something, but they're in peripheral, so you're not like focus. I saw, I chanted for a minute, and I saw the wall start to shake,
Okay? Yeah,
meaning
yeah,
like
yeah,
the,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah. So that makes sense to me.
yeah.
What
And I
was
was
it?
like,
What was that like for you?
I stopped because I was getting dizzy.
Mhm.
And it wasn't I was getting dizzy. My brain was like trying to process what I was witnessing while
Sure,
I was
sure.
chanting. And I'm like, okay, we're just gonna stop and we're gonna meditate because like that seems to be like where my brain needs to go now. And I had like a very profound quiet meditation after. But I've seen the frequency. I was up in Oswald West State Park on the Oregon coast last fall, and I saw like the frequency shift. Like I saw like twice in the space of like a minute. And it was like these fragments of like da 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 da. And it was like, okay, something just flew by me that's not in this dimension. I think it's a fairy because it's a very fairy feeling space. And I'm not stoned. I
Mhm.
don't do that. But like, I was like, okay, like if I was, I probably would have seen it because my brain would have been slow enough to be able to process it, but I still saw it anyways because I couldn't like it happened twice. And I'm like, okay, so this construct of the third dimension, where it's solid, we're solid beings, right? We think we're frequencies that have slowed down into a density. But like the other strings of the
Mhm.
symphony are lighter
Yeah.
and we're beginning to see them.
Yes. Yes. So this is a musical analogy that I think is very fitting for what we're talking about. I noticed this on a piano. I think it works on a guitar and maybe other instruments as well. But on a piano, if you go over and you hold down, let's say in the key of C, you hold down a C several octaves up. You don't play the key, but you push it down and you hold it so that the
Mhm.
string is held. And then if you ping the lower C and you push it and you actually play that note, what you'll hear is a resonant harmonic vibration of the higher note activate. So what feel like I have observed is that as I come into clear awareness of God embodied as self now in purposeful existence, that the octaves of existence also start to ring and they give notice of themselves.
Mm, that makes sense.
And I feel like that happened in what you just described, where you were existing in a state of being that had extrasensory awareness
Hmm.
of something outside of the spectrum of light you can witness.
Hmm.
As human bodies, we're only designed to sense what we're able to sense. And
Right.
yet we have an awareness that there is that what is beyond our sensing.
Hmm.
And in this instance, you were sensing something beyond your sensing. And I feel like that is happening because you're in a resonant harmony with what is beyond your senses. And so
Yeah.
that's why you're able to experience relationship with the supernatural.
Yeah. Well, I always have. I just blocked it because I didn't understand it.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Well, it empowers you. This is something else that
Yeah.
I've been thinking about. I'm going to go kind of on a bit of a tangent here,
Okay.
but I want to tell you that I ponder this quite sincerely, and that is, what is the nature of Earth actually? We're
Mm.
taught floating ball in space. We're taught that, and I feel like what we have actually is a containment field simulation, and we have access to expanded simulation beyond the containment field. But in order to access it, we would need to be in a harmony, alignment with the helpers on the other side.
Mm.
So, another way to say this is, we talked about movies. Are you familiar with Joseph Campbell and his hero's journey wheel? Are you familiar with that?
I watched Joseph Campbell be interviewed by Bill Moyers when I was in high school, and it was my sanity.
Wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's neat. That's neat. So he speaks about this upgrade system, the hero's journey. Now, unfortunately, it looks like a perfect circle, and I feel
Mhm.
like for it to accurately represent what it truly is, it would need to appear as a spiral.
Right.
That being said, I feel like we are in a spiral. We're not in a containment. We're in a spiral, but we're nearing the edges of expansion into a super universe that is
Mm.
beyond the information of the universe as we're presently holding it. But in order for it to actually expand, we have to make relationship with the helpers on the other side. Now, that's a term that Joseph Campbell would use, because he would refer to the wizard that would come to help the people go from the conscious world into the unconscious world,
Mm.
part of their journey. And
Mhm.
wizard archetype was a helper from the other side. And so
Mhm.
when I'm doing stories and I'm consciously creating characters, it's fun for me to think about characters that are already in this sort of supernatural existence beyond the bubble of awareness that I am, then merging into the bubble, and then creating a bridge, and then creating these helpers on the other side coming in and offering new insight. And as I lean into that energetically, I feel like that's actually the way to create the the new simulation, the new earth, the new expansion.
Mm. I love that because I feel I've had visions of me like walking into a burned forest
Okay.
and talking to the trees and asking them if they want to live again. And then seeing the tree burst into like a phoenix and be a tree again.
Interesting.
Why not?
Yeah,
It's
totally.
it just it's just something I've seen that I get to do and help them with, and I'm like, okay, and the same with the clear cuts that it's not the best forest practice on the planet. Um, just talking to one of the trunks and saying, hey, do you want to regrow? Because the trunk is still, they don't pull up the trunks. So it's like, and the trunks are like, well, yeah, but could we like clear all the negative energy before we repopulate? I'm like, well, of course we can. And just having these conversations with land and trees, because like they're not separate from us.
Right.
We're all expressions. Like the animals definitely tell me that. I do sessions with them all the time. And so like they talk to me, trees talk to me, rocks talk to me, rivers talk to me, Klamath Lake talks to me. Like they all speak if we are open to listening,
Right.
and they're open to the co-creation of what we all are. And so if we remove those limitations of like, well, that's just a tree or that's just a rock, and that what how could I do anything with it? Well, they want to, because they're aspects of us, and it's the play. It's like when we were kids, we didn't separate. Like I was friends with Canadian geese as a 3-year-old, and I walked into their flock and talked to them, and my parents freaked out, and I didn't care because they were my friends and they let me pet them. Like they felt that I knew what I forgot and remembered again, that like there's no separation.
Right. Everything is existing within you,
Mm-hmm.
and communicating with things in a new way, in a genuine way, um, in an innately known way. That
Mm.
is how to Well, that is how to supersede and overcome the conditioned language and the effects of conditioned language.
Mhm.
So we exist in a time. I've been thinking about this too. I feel like we don't really know it, but we've had a TV show laid on us, and and it's infused into our existence, but it's not necessarily truthful. Uh,
Mhm.
but it's so widely accepted that we
Yeah.
don't know that we can actually vibrate out of it into our own preferred creation, our own preferred composition.
Mhm.
And I say this very generally without really pointing to the things that I'm talking about because I
Mhm.
don't want to sound them. I I've
Completely makes sense because I see them too, and I don't want to bring them into a space that they don't need to be in.
yes, yes. Well, because and this is kind of troubling. Well, it's not troubling. It just requires focus and faith in your focus. Because if
Mm,
your faith in your focus, then you know what I focus on makes makes the thing. It makes stuff real. What I focus on does the trick.
right.
And so if I focus on what I don't like, I will get more of it. And I know that.
Mhm. Yeah.
And so it doesn't make sense to me to talk about things that I don't like. It doesn't make sense to me to mention names of people I never want to meet.
Yeah.
And it only makes sense to me to speak about creations and conditions and reality systems and artistic creations and um, human collaborative events, these
Mhm.
sorts of things. These are the only things that make sense to me to talk about that bring about a happier condition for people than
Mhm.
we've experienced so far. That's what makes sense to me to use my words for.
No, it totally makes sense. Like I can see like one of the things I do is a modality called body talk, which is multidisciplinary thing. And I work with animals specifically to help them remove trauma and anxiety. And so there are times when I remove the things because like if let's say the lab I'm with right now has massive separation anxiety and he's codependent. And so I go into his epigenetics to see how many generations that's been. I see if there's an active memory from puppyhood. I like do that stuff and then deactivate it
Interesting.
at his request.
I see.
I don't do anything without permission, but it's like removing those things that make us forget who we are through programs or traumas or stuff like that. And mostly with animals because that's what I've been guided to do. And so in instances like that, it's like it's not really extraction, it's a deactivation, but I it comes into my field, but then I don't bring it into my field on the day to day because I want to create the new.
Yeah. Yeah. While you were speaking about that, I felt the like the contraction that you're lasering in on is when it's released, natural essence and true self automatically performs itself, right?
Yeah.
And the condition we have going on is that we are well, and I'll verbalize it as myself here.
Okay.
Um, so the condition that I've experienced going on is that I have been contracted, holding on to a false persona.
Hmm.
And as I release the false persona, I am awakened to a super self.
Hmm.
And it's ever expanding back into core resonance with the grand self.
Hmm.
It's an ongoing evolutionary ascension spiral
Yeah.
that ever attunes me to what I really am.
Mm.
And I feel like you're experiencing that when you guide whoever it is you're working with, animals primarily, perhaps people from time to time.
Mhm.
Uh, when you're doing that guidance, you're facilitating an experience of releasing contraction around a no longer serviceable identity,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that true self essence can be all that is operating the form.
hmm And it's mostly because, like, the way I feel is like the the animals don't know how to do it on them by themselves,
Right.
so they ask me to come in and help them.
I see.
Yeah.
I Because it's interesting because when we talk about this, Sophia, I feel there's like an inner sense of like, well, what would it be like if I asked Sophia to do this for me? I
Mhm.
wonder that a little bit. And then you
Yeah.
also mentioned um, animals don't know how to do it for themselves.
Right.
I feel like I know how to do things for myself. I feel like I've come into that awareness. Like,
hmm
oh, okay, wait a second. I've learned how to return me to me and to keep
Mm.
doing this.
Yeah.
So I don't seek I don't seek help in this front anymore, which is great because
Mhm.
once upon a time I used to seek help in this front all
Right.
the time.
Oh, yeah, same here. Like many, many years. And now it's like, well, no, because like whatever is within me, I'm the only one that knows what's in me,
Right,
right?
right,
I'm the
right.
only one that has any awareness of the distortions that keep me from remembering the divinity that I am.
Yes. And so therefore it's within your capacity to clear it
hmm
and to be clear now.
Yeah, because
And
like that's what I came here for.
right, right. Well, because this is something else that I find super interesting is that when two healed people speak with each other, they have the opportunity to be excellent harmony.
hmm
It's like in a choir, you've got two people who are not questioning whether or not they're good singers, because if you get a choir of people that are questioning if they're good singers, everybody's looking to each other for validation, right? Like, hey, I just say that. Did you like it? Or they're like crazy, like, I just saying that I'm the best at this, like they're like, kind of that stuff. And it muddies the opportunity for harmony.
Yeah.
And when two healed people, two singers that are confident in their ability to make excellent sound, get together
hmm
and make music, they can make truly epic harmony.
Yeah.
And that's the joy of being human now, is that
hmm
now that we're healed, we can make brilliant music and create excellent structure.
Yeah. Which is like, that's the best because like each one of us brings a different piece of the puzzle together.
Truth.
And, and I love my pieces. I would love to know all the gifts I have. I've used many of them, but I know I have more. Um, you have gifts, and I know you're having more too. And like, how do we interplay with those?
Yes.
Like that's
Great.
just the play. It's like, as kids, we're like, hey, I've got this thing. What do you want to bring into the thing? And like, we'll make the thing together and we'll just co-create this magical, non-existent thing
Right.
because we can.
Exactly. Exactly.
And that's what
Yeah,
it feels like.
it does feel like that. And I like where you're coming from on this. I like your point of view because it feels exciting and empowering.
Yeah.
And I feel like we making music is the foundational core of how to cause a shift. That's what
Mm,
I am perceiving is that if it was about opening heaven's door, it would be done with music, and then the matter would form, and then the gate would appear, and entrance would be permitted because we invoked it through our sound. And I'm not saying we haven't done that yet, because this is something else when it comes to the talk of heaven. It's that we exist, as far as I can tell, is that we exist in God's imagination exclusively. And there's
mhm,
never been a separation. So the idea of heaven, it's a theme that you and I have power to project on now
mhm.
and abide within, dwell within, if we so choose with our consistency.
Yeah.
There is some degree of needing to um, consciously shift the frequency to cause the effect of evidence appearing. You know what I mean when I say that?
Mm. Yep.
And so there is an effort, but it's the effort of attunement. It's the effort of coming into harmonized alignment with the frequency that has all of the stuff that is liked to be seen and desired to be felt.
Yeah. No, I love that because I can feel it. And I'm like hearing this thing that I'm supposed to share with you. So a couple months ago, I was in a park in Bend, and I grew up with John Denver. I forgot the song. I started singing any song.
Yeah.
The birds started singing with me,
Neat.
and it was like, oh, if I slow down enough, and this is my biggest, I'll say, obstacle to overcome, because I'm such a like
I, I,
like so when I slow down enough and I'm like really present, all of the magic comes through.
okay.
And the hard part for me is like that joyful enthusiasm that just like so exciting and being present with it. Like,
Yeah.
so I'm not overwhelming the situation that I'm present in with the joy and the enthusiasm. Like, if I see a baby panda, I'd probably like blip into another dimension. If I get to hold a baby panda, I would definitely like go into another dimension because I'd be so excited. Um, and so, like, tempering that joy and unfettered enthusiasm and like the delight of beingness with the presence is still working on that one because I can feel that play and I love being present and I love the joy and I haven't figured out how to
Yeah. Right. Okay. So when you brought that up, Sophia, the idea of you holding a baby panda and that being so much elation for you, I, f- what came to mind was that creation exists so you can have that experience.
hmm
And when you lean into that kind of epic experience that you can craft for yourself, that's where the profound playfulness that shifts reality is accessible because it doesn't make any logical sense for you to be holding pandas. Uh, and you could go your whole life without doing it. You don't really
yeah
have to. But if you got
I
to
know
do
where, I
it,
know where they are.
yeah, you know where they are, you know they exist. And so this comes back to you being creator in your
Yeah,
reality.
yeah.
And your reality presents itself to you, but you have given yourself as creator the gift of not knowing your reality
hmm
so that you can discover things. This is the joy of being a human, is that we get to be creatures in space and time.
hmm
Whereas the infinite God, I am creator, is timeless, infinite, and has no attachment to any one particular composition of self more than another because it's all of equal value to the great body of itself. And so it just is perfected bliss and is perhaps motionless. And this is what I've noticed of perfected bliss is that it's perfectly still. It doesn't care if things change.
Yeah.
But we as people are the creation, we're the children of the stillness of bliss.
hmm
We are born out of bliss to be creatures that have selectivity and favoritism and interest in specific opportunities over other opportunities. And
hmm
this allows creator to explore all of the infinite aspects of itself. And so that's why we are really valuable to
Yeah.
creator. And your desire to play with baby pandas is what creator wants to do. And so what I come back to is drawing. Have you ever blueprinted the reality image of you with a baby panda? Have you ever composited images of that in any way?
I have not. I've been to the Chengdu facility for the baby panda breeding, and
Okay.
I was 2016. I was in China.
Oh,
It was
okay. Okay.
a crazy experience. Frequencies. Oh wow, like that's a whole other discussion. Um, but like apparently the facility doesn't want Americans to hold the baby pandas because most Americans think it's bad that they're bred, and I'm like, I'm not one of them. I am so.
That's funny. That's funny.
So like I know where the facility is. I don't know. I tried to learn Mandarin. Oh, this is tough language.
It
Very
is. It
yeah.
is. It's yeah. Uh I spent time in Japan. I
Okay.
prefer the sound of the Japanese language.
Yeah, it's for some reason it seems easier because you don't have one word that has five tones
mm,
and
okay.
you need perfect pitch. Otherwise, you're
Right,
going to insult someone.
right.
Um,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
so,
yeah. Funny. Okay, so you could get the baby panda there, but what I think immediately is that there are baby pandas in many places. Um,
mhm.
and I'm just curious about the blueprinted, because you got close, and
Yeah.
this is what I've noticed is that our nature is to get us close to things that
Mhm.
we want, but sometimes um, it's just to flash the preview of it so that we can
Mm,
enact the empowerment within that says, no, I
yeah.
certainly will have this. And then
Yeah.
and that's where the applied focus comes in and is like, it is
Mm,
mine. That
yeah.
is what I'm talking about.
No, I totally feel that because I feel that with like places and beings that I need to meet, like orcas. Have to meet orcas too.
Yes,
Interesting that they're
orcas.
both black and white.
100%.
But like I'm drawn to connect with these beings
Right.
um, because clearly it's something my soul wants to experience, and there's some sort of bond that I have that I want to feel again. Like I know I have a very long, deep connection with the orcas. I have a very long, deep connection with cedars, western cedars. I don't get it. I don't need to. I just know I do. So to remember what those connections are would be pretty freaking amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it would. Especially where you're so communicative with the creatures and the trees. I feel like if you got some bonding time with orcas, that
I think.
you would have new ways to imagine.
Hmm.
You'd be given uh, like new synapses in your brain.
I can feel that. I can feel that. The two times I've been on Orcas Island, I've sung to them. I
Mm.
talked to them in the water. I felt their energy. The first time I was on the ferry, I heard them say, "She finally made it." I'm like, "Well, that's not fair because I haven't seen you yet." Like I haven't
Mm.
actually seen it. I've seen them on videos and everything, but I haven't
Sure.
actually met one. But I know they're family. I know they're family.
Yeah, they're great creatures. I
Yeah.
have a lot of admiration for them. They're powerful creatures.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're great creatures.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I'm recognizing that it's probably 9 your time.
Yeah, a little after 9 now.
Yep. And I'm going to honor the fact that we've spent an hour together. And I want to thank you. And I want to ask that last question. How do people find you?
People can find me on TikTok or Instagram, and I am the same handle on both of those platforms. Riley Creates Reality,
Awesome.
and that's how you can find me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time, for being willing to have this conversation, for your beingness, and all that you're co-creating in the world.
Appreciate that, Sophia. I
You're welcome.
appreciate you reaching out and having a similar vibrant perspective on goodness and how to enjoy this time as who you are and what you are. So I'm glad you reached out. And I feel like as time goes on, as experiences happen for you, that what's going to happen for you is that you're going to see new ways to do more of what you love in a way that gets it more directly for you and also allows you to share in the joy with other faces that only amplify the joyfulness for you.
Mm, thank you.
You were welcome and happy to be it.